History is something we learn through schools, colleges, documentaries, and books. We believe that whatever has happened in the past is permanently recorded and safely written into our timeline forever. But what if a scientist claims that our history is not completely real? What if certain years were added into our timeline, even though they never actually existed? This idea confused historians, archaeologists, and scientists around the world. This mysterious concept is known as the phantom time hypothesis. According to this theory, the years between 614 to 911 AD, nearly 300 years, never actually happened. That means the year we are calling 2025 today might actually be somewhere around 1725. This sounds insane at first, but everything begins in Germany in the 1980s, when a German historian named Heribert Illig proposed this theory. Illig claimed that the Roman emperors of Europe and the Catholic Church modified the calendar to legitimize their rule and inserted around 300 fake years. When Illig began presenting evidence, he first looked at architectural history. He noticed that during the 7th, 8th, and 9th centuries, there was almost no progress. Buildings, bridges, monuments, nothing showed advancement. It was as if the world had paused. Then suddenly, from the 10th century, development began moving rapidly again, like someone pressed unpause. Historians rejected this, saying war and poverty slowed progress. But Illig wasn't satisfied. Next came manuscripts. Normally, human civilization leaves behind continuous written records. Each century evolves in culture, language, and art. But when historians search for authentic documents from 614 to 911 AD, most were forgeries, recopied texts, or suspiciously dated later. The original documents were missing, and that was alarming. It looked as if something older was artificially created. Then came the biggest point: Roman Emperor Charlemagne. He is taught as one of history's most iconic rulers, but the hard physical evidence of his existence is shockingly limited. His stories seem heroic, exaggerated, even legendary. Some historians suggested that Charlemagne might be a myth or a combination of multiple figures. If this emperor is questionable, then the centuries surrounding him become questionable too. Supporters of this theory also argue about the Julian and Gregorian calendar adjustment. The shift should have been 13 days, but historically only 10 days were corrected. According to phantom time believers, those missing 3 days represent around 300 fabricated years. Another questionable detail arises in Romanesque architecture. If those centuries existed, there should have been architectural transition, but the connecting evolution appears missing. Historians call this the architecture gap. Now the big question arrives: if this fake time exists, who created it and why? Supporters point toward the Catholic Church. During medieval Europe, the Church held absolute influence. If an emperor wanted to extend his reign or a pope wanted unquestioned authority, records could be altered. Back then, scribes controlled memory. Whatever they wrote became truth. Historians opposing this theory present the strongest argument. Civilizations like China and the Islamic world have synchronized timelines matching Europe. If Europe faked history, independent civilizations would expose the gap. But interestingly, supporters answer that during those specific centuries, Chinese records blur, and early Islamic documentation is unusually thin. Archaeology comes in as the strongest counterattack. Archaeologists claim Pottery, coins, weapons, burials from those centuries do exist. Supporters respond, they can be replicated or made to appear older. Scientists say the theory falls apart when viewed scientifically. Genetics, population growth, and artifact layering all show continuous human development. If 300 years were missing, science would reveal the gap clearly. Supporters argue record keeping was controlled. Missing material could be deliberate destruction. Public interest grew because humans are naturally drawn to conspiracies. We enjoy questioning reality. Supporters challenge mainstream history, and people love the idea. But realistically, this theory contains so many holes that historians jokingly compare it to cheese. Still, it teaches one lesson. Human record keeping is flawed, and if someone wanted to manipulate information, timelines might bend. Psychologically, this theory has a powerful effect. Imagine discovering that we are centuries younger than we think. Technology, medicine, society, everything would shift backwards. Another strange detail is that some events from the Holy Roman Empire and early Islamic records show irregular overlaps. Supporters see this as proof, while historians see political bias. Historians' strongest claim, phantom time is born from coincidence and selective evidence. Supporters argue they are uncovering anomalies, and every year new archaeological questions arise. Castles with dates that don't match documents, graves with carbon results outside expected ranges. Carbon dating becomes central. Mayan artifacts match perfectly, but medieval European bones sometimes show inconsistent results. Scientists blame soil contamination. Supporters celebrate gap detected. Then comes another angle. What if the Dark Ages were exaggerated? Progress seemed paused. Then suddenly the Renaissance exploded, like centuries of growth compressed into decades. Academically, this is weak. Documentation exists. Supporters call those documents edited later, and the cycle never ends. Philosophically, this theory shakes identity. We trust calendars blindly. They tell us where we stand. But if the calendar is unreliable, human civilization becomes questionable. Illig spent his life defending this idea. Many laughed, some supported. Science rejected it. But one thing is undeniable. Phantom time hypothesis forced humanity to rethink how history is recorded. It reminded academics, evidence can be selective. Narratives can be biased. Truth can be edited. Imagine if time manipulation was real. Education systems, holidays, royal dynasties, cultural eras might all be false. Mainstream history concludes, phantom time is fascinating, but scientifically insufficient. But supporters reply, until missing centuries are fully explained, doubt will live. So is this theory true or a historical illusion? The truth lies somewhere between curiosity and reality. History has always been a puzzle, and phantom time is one of its most dramatic pieces. In the end, this story teaches us what is written isn't always truth, and sometimes history is written by those who hold more power than ink.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.